Guys, today's video is my everyday foundation routine. This is the foundation routine I wore in this Instagram picture that so many of you commented and wanted to know what my routine was. And it's also the foundation routine I've been doing every day for work since I started work. And I said I would just do its own separate little video on my foundation routine, and that's what we're doing today. So all the products I use will be linked down below, and if you want to see my everyday foundation routine, then just keep on watching. Alright, so the first thing I do is the foundation part. I don't do my eyebrows first anymore. I used to always do my eyebrows first, but then it's actually way easier to do your foundation first. This is the foundation routine that I've been doing for a while. This is what I've been doing day and night without fail. It's perfect for work because it's so quick. So the first thing I do is take my CeraVe moisturizer, and this has SPF in it. You can use any moisturizer. I used to use the Glossier Priming Moisturizer, but I ran out of it. So I just switched to my regular moisturizer. And then I take my L'Oreal Pro Glow foundation. And this is in shade 204, which is dark for me. I'm self-tanned right now. But even when I'm not self-tanned, I'll still use this because since we're mixing it with the moisturizer, it's like so sheer that it doesn't really matter. And I put like a few drops. What I would usually put on my face, I put about half of that because you're mixing it with the moisturizer, you get like a lot more volume. And then I put it on my face and I literally just rub it in with my hands. It's just so quick and simple, and honestly, if my skin wasn't clear, I wouldn't be doing this. My summer foundation routine would be exactly the same as what you would see in my vlogs, like the Estee Lauder Double Wear, but because my skin is just so clear right now, and I'm not like trying to brag or, you know, whatever. I struggled with acne for years. Since about my senior year in high school, I have just been struggling with acne, and it's gotten really bad over the past year. But ever since I started using Curology, well, first I used MD Acne, and that did clear up my skin. But then I ran out of it, and I kind of like let my skin go again because I ran out of it, and I like just didn't reorder it online. And then I broke out again, and I was just so unhappy with the way my skin was looking. I'm like, I can't go out of the house without wearing foundation because my skin was just that bad, and it was making me really insecure. So once I started Curology, about 2 weeks into it, my skin was clear, and now that my skin is clear, the Curology is actually really helping my acne scarring. Now, I don't know if it's like supposed to do that or if it's just kind of happening naturally, but my skin is just looking so much better. So I'm just going to use this Morphe M439 brush just to kind of blend it onto my neck a little bit. Because this foundation is so sheer, I really don't have an issue with like a line on my neck, even if I forget. Are you kidding? Like every loud truck that's ever existed is driving down my street right now. Seriously. So that's it for the foundation part. I don't wear concealer on an everyday basis. If I was going out at night and doing this routine, I'd add a little concealer. But what I do is just take the leftover on my brush and rub it over my eyes and like underneath my eyes. Under eye concealer is always hard because it always ends up looking so dry and cakey on me after a while. So if I can get away with not wearing it, I do. Now I actually do have a little breakout right here, which is like the first time I've had a breakout in so long. I just take a little dot of the Fit Me concealer. I switch up concealer all the time. For under eyes, I always use my Tarte Shape Tape, but this is so light for my skin right now that I couldn't put it here. It would just highlight the acne. And if I have something like really bad going on, I will use my Amazing Cosmetics concealer. Now this is like very intense concealer, but if you have a spot you cannot cover, that's really good. Then I just pat it in with my finger as much as I can, and then I'll just go with the brush to kind of finish it off. So now I'm going to do my eyebrows while I kind of let the foundation and moisturizer sink into my skin a little bit. For my eyebrows, guys, it's still pretty much exactly the same. I comb them out with a spoolie, but I've been using powder recently because I feel the powder, since I don't have like a full face of makeup on, the pomade that I used to use, the Anastasia pomade, can look really crazy. I've been using a mix of the Milani Brow Kit and whatever the lightest shade is, whether it's called Blonde or like shade 1. As you can see, I used up this entire color. So I've been using the MAC eyeshadow in Omega, which is the exact same color that was right here, but it's just from MAC. So I take this little brush that I got from Ulta from the Essence section, that's like $2, and I get a whole bunch of this Omega on there, and I get a little bit of that dark brown because the dark brown is way too dark for me to fill in my eyebrows with. They look insane, but I just need a little bit of it. And then I just fill them in. I don't do anything special. I have a pretty good natural eyebrow shape, so I just fill them in. I'm such a bad beauty guru. I'm literally just like rubbing this thing through my eyebrows, and that's what I call my eyebrow routine. And then for the front, because I don't like the front of my eyebrows to be very dark, I use just Omega, and I kind of feather it in, and then I'll just wipe off a little bit, and that's seriously it. I'll move, but I just trace along the top line of my eyebrow because it can be a little sparse up there, and then I trace along the bottom, and then I just take Omega for the front. And this is my favorite eyebrow. I don't know if you guys have a favorite eyebrow, but this one is my favorite because the hairs in the front grow upwards, which I just think is very pretty and, I don't know, very like model looking. You know, models always have those gorgeous fluffy eyebrows where the hairs are like straight up, but you know, eyebrows are supposed to be sisters, not twins, and mine are like kind of like long lost cousins. Now I use my Glossier Wowder powder, which is in the shade light medium actually, and this is pretty much translucent. It really doesn't have a color once you put it on, and I just take it on this Flower Beauty huge brush, and I lightly dust it only over like my chin and mouth area and the center of my forehead. I really love the dewy, glowy look in the summer, and the less product I put on my face, the better I feel. Now I move on to mascara, and you guys know I love my Essence Lash Princess mascara. This is like $3 or $4 at Ulta. I will have everything linked below, but this is just, it's the best mascara I've used in a really long time. I love the shape of the brush. It's like a little scoop. It really lifts your lashes, and you can get a really nice natural look like this, or you can build it up so they're super thick, and it just kind of depends on my mood that day. And occasionally I'll wear eyeshadow, like very rarely, but sometimes I will. But we're not doing that in this video because this is like my everyday makeup, and my everyday makeup doesn't really include eyeshadow at this very moment. I don't put any on my lower lashes just because I think it makes my eyes look too dark. So this is all we are doing for mascara. Now we can move on to bronzer. The reason I like to do my like bronzer and blush last is I feel like the longer I let my foundation sit, the less the bronzer will move around when I use a brush. So the bronzer I've been loving is Take Home the Bronze by The Balm. And this is more of a cool toned bronzer that you can contour with. And I have been using the Morphe M350 brush, which I got at Ulta. And I just take some of this, and first I'll squeeze it so it's more of like a line shape. And I'll contour my cheekbones just a little, and then I'll just blend it out like that. And then I'll just take it down my nose, around my forehead. I love the way bronzer looks, especially in the summer when I have my freckles. I just feel like the bronzer really accentuates my freckles. And then sometimes if I'm feeling like I want to be even more bronze, I'll take my butter bronzer from Physicians Formula, which I can't recommend enough. This is such an amazing bronzer, so good, and it smells like coconuts. It smells so good. And I'll just take a little bit because this is pretty dark, and I'll put this like just on the outer portions of my face and like along my jawline, because bronzer, you definitely don't want to have like a bronzer line. Little bit on my forehead, nose, and then this I will take down my neck. I don't really have to do it too much today since I'm self-tan though. For blush, I've been switching between two things. If I'm being like super quick and lazy and just want to use the same brush and get things done, I've been using the Butter Blush, also by Physicians Formula, and this is in the shade Plum Rose, and it's just a really nice matte mauve color. Very plain. I love that. And then if I'm feeling more of a dewy look and I feel like, you know, doing a little extra step, I'll use the Glossier Cloud Paint in Dusk. And this is like an orange kind of color. And you don't need much of this, but what I love is that it's not super pigmented, because that would be a problem for me, because I would let it dry and I would look like a maniac. So I just dot it on, and I use the same brush that I use for bronzer. I'm like really not a beauty guru anymore, am I, ladies? I'm using like the same brush for everything. And I just kind of blend it out, and this is so great because it doesn't dry fast. It's not super pigmented like some cream blushes that are just too pigmented to even work with, and it adds that extra glow. And another Glossier product, my favorite highlighter of the moment, is the Glossier Halo Scope, and mine is in Quartz, which is like the white color. And it's a highlighter, and then it has like a little moisturizing thing in the center. Now, I don't like to rub this on my face because I feel like it moves my foundation around. So I take this little brush from Real Techniques and just paint it up, and I press it and like dot it onto my skin. I don't drag it, again, because I don't want to mess up my foundation. So I do my cheekbones. I'll do above my upper lip to give me a little sparkle there. Sometimes I'll do the tip of my nose, but you know what? I don't really have the nose shape that you should be highlighting the tip of your nose, but I do it anyways. Then I take the whole brush and I just rub it on my eyelids. This is really not like beauty guru approved, guys. This is just my thing. And then I'll put a little bit above my eyebrows, which I don't know why I do that. I saw, like, I think Shani Grimmin do it once, and ever since then I've just been hooked. But you gotta make sure you blend that out, or else you can look like you have horns, and it's not a good look. And then I just like to press that in with my fingertips to make sure it's like in my skin. And then if I want to look extra like beachy, sunburnt sort of, this is what I did in that picture that everyone asked about. I'll take this butter blush again, and just like a random brush. This is just from Amazon. And I actually will put this all over my eyelid, because do you know how when you go to the beach and you get a little sunburn, your eyelids are like sort of red, the tip of your nose is sort of red. Like, I just want that beachy, sunburnt, just got back from vacation kind of look, even though like I didn't go on vacation and I'm actually not sunburnt, but that's what I want. So if you put a little blush, like don't go overboard or else you'll look like Rudolph, that it's like this mauvey red on your eyelids, and a little bit on your nose. That's what I did, and that kind of gives you that glowy, sunburnt sort of look. Now for lips. Lips change pretty much every single day. I never do the exact same thing. I will start off with a lip liner, and this is from Essence in Lost in Love. It's just kind of like my lip color. And I will line my lips. I can't really talk, I like to do that. And then I've been loving this NYX Lingerie liquid lipstick in Baby Doll. It's a really, really nice nude. I talked about this in a different vlog. It's a really nice pink, and it's not orange, which is hard for me to find a liquid lipstick that's nude, but not orange nude. Now, a lot of the times this is just what I'll leave my lips as, but I also sometimes add this Tarte lipstick in Beach Babe. I love this. And the final step, and I only do this if I'm like going out at night or I'm doing something like this isn't something I'd wear to work, is I'll put the Glossier Halo Scope on my collarbones in like my chest area, and I just rub it in with my hands. And if I was wearing like a tank top or an off the shoulder top, which this actually is an off the shoulder top, but I just have been wearing it like it's not, I put a little on my shoulder blades and rub that in. Because if your face is super dewy, I feel like this also, like your, what is this called, your décolletage, your décolleté, or your shoulders should also be a little glowy. But that is all I do for my everyday foundation routine. It's really simple and so much less full coverage and so much less steps than what my old foundation routine was. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions about anything, leave them below. I'll have all the products I used linked below, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Give this video a thumbs up if you did, subscribe if you aren't, hit the bell notification button, and I'll see you again in my next video.